Hello guys, welcome to part 20 of What If Minato had adopted Obito. First of all, I said that the story doesn't belong to me, so if you read the full story for yourself, you can go down in the description to find the link to the original post and read the full story for yourself. That being said, let's get into the video. What if Minato had adopted Obito? Part 20. Obito was starting his new jutsu with extremely extreme caution industry. It was called the Kamui. It was called the Kamui, and the more he learned about it, the crazier it seemed. He found out that this jutsu transported things into a pocket dimension, a pretty useful thing, a useful little trick. Soon he discovered that he could use it to make untouchable or sort of amount for some short amounts of time. The longest he had been able to keep himself invisible was for 2 minutes. He may not be able to use the Susanoo, but this might actually be better. With this new jutsu, there was almost no one who could manage to touch him. Obito was quickly becoming one of the leaf's greatest assets. That was something he was very proud of and was going to make sure that he did as much as he could with it. Tsunade thanked God she was a ninja and was already used to all-nighters. As much as she loved Mito, that little girl seemed to hate sleep. Rin had similar feelings with Kakashi, although they would usually fall asleep if they just walked around with them. They would take turns with Naruto, but to be honest, he was the most easygoing baby of the three. It was pretty rare they actually needed to put him back to sleep. It was pretty rare they needed to put him back to sleep. By far, the babies were the most fun when they had first woken up in the morning. They could smile, giggle, sometimes they would bow little barbs with their mouths too. They were adorable in the morning. They had to move around their schedule a little bit so that they could have at least two people with the babies at all times. Even Anko volunteered to help out when she could. Jiraiya had given up on writing Ichi. Couldn't really keep doing that now that he was a dad, especially with the little girl. He did, however, continue with his spy network, although he was gone nearly as much now. Tsunade was still working as the head of the hospital part-time at least. She had Rin and Shizune helping her as much as she taught them everything they needed to know about running the hospital. They would take shifts for running the hospital, and however weren't could stay whoever wasn't wouldn't stay home and they would take shifts for running the hospital, and whoever wasn't would stay home and help with the kids. Obito and Anko were both going on mission and training quite a lot, but still made sure that they had time with the kids. Obito didn't go on as many missions as Anko did, mainly because he wanted to be with Kakashi and Naruto as much as possible. So he spent more time just training and going home at the end of the day. The schedule had changed quite a bit, but only one whose rank changed was Anko, who was made Jonin. Jiraiya and Tsunade had been teaching her how to use her summons more effectively, primarily how to use the snake summoning contract without having to sacrifice to the powerful snake. With Jiraiya's help, they modified her technique so that she only summoned the right snakes. They found that some snakes didn't exactly agree with Manda's, the boss summons line of thought. Manda wasn't well liked by his own followers. She had even found a few very powerful snakes that didn't ask for anything but loyalty. The best part was now Kakashi could sign the contract risk-free. Anko was definitely on the way to bring honor back to the snakes, and she wasn't gonna stop until she did. Tori was getting a little impatient. They had yet to acquire even one tailed beast, mostly because they needed to lay low because of the hidden leaf incident. The only thing that Tori had accomplished so far was taking control of the hidden mist. Their Mizukage was a Jinjuriki, meaning Tori could control him with her Mongekyo Sharingan. Having control over an entire hidden village was very beneficial, as it let her keep an ear to the ground at whatever the other village might be up to. Not to mention, she could now extract the three-tailed turtle at any time. You cannot kill a tailed beast, so even after it was destroyed when Hatake was killed, it reformed about 2 years later. The hidden mist sealed it inside a boy known as Yagora. Yagora was now her personal puppet, and with him she would mist right under her thumb. She may not be close to having all of the tailed beast, but at least she had gone the ball rolling. Things were only going to get better for the Akatsuki from here. Sarutobi was not happy to be back into the Hokage's chair. He considered asking one of his students to be the new Hokage, but with his students having children, it just didn't seem right to ask them to do that. And it wasn't a good idea to try to raise children when you're the Hokage. He knew that better than anyone. Asuma grew up with the resentment towards his father, guardian. Granted, he still loved his father and knew he was a good man, but that didn't change the fact that he often felt his father cared more about the village than his own son. Still, there was nothing he could do about that now. His village needed him, and there was no way in hell he was going to leave it in the hands of Danzo. When the time came, he would find a way to make it up to his son. Until then, he would do what he could for his village. He had been entrusted with a great task, and he wasn't going to let anyone down. Before long, it was time for their first birthday. They decided to have the party on Kakashi's birthday, as it was right between the other two. Most of the clan heads came with their kids, as it was the party for the two major clan children and the son of the fourth Hokage. Although Obito still wasn't calling himself or his son an Uchiha. So two main clans are the Senju and the Uchiha, and the fourth son is Naruto. Obviously, the clan had still considered them one. Some were even calling the true Uchihas. The first to arrive was Sumi, head of the Inazuka and on-time teammate of Minato. It is my fiction, so I can. The writer is making Sumi the teammate of Minato because he can. Naturally, she didn't want to miss the party of her daughter and teammate's son. She had brought her 5-year-old daughter Hana and her 1-year-old son Kiba. Hana, who had met Jiraiya before, was happy to see him as she thought of him as an uncle. She hadn't really been introduced to him now. Dominant, very powerful side. Jiraiya gladly accepted a hug from the young girl. Uncle Jiraiya, can I hold Mito, please? Jiraiya laughed. Of course you can. She's with Tsunade right now. Go find her. Hana ran off happily, and Tsunami turned to her old sensei. How have you been, old perverts? Jorah rolled his eyes. Tsunami even never was one to show him some respect. Good to see you too, Tsunami. Is Hiyashi coming as well? Tsunami smiled at the mention of their last teammate. Oh yeah, he's bringing his little girl along too. Real cute. Got blue hair like her mom. Jorah couldn't help but find that kind of funny. Blue hair on a clan heiress. I don't think I have ever seen that before. She walked in just at that moment. Yes, it is rather unusual. It seems little Hina inherited her mother looks thankfully. Hiyashi, I'm naming her father because of me. And the writer has named her mother that was busy making faces at her daughters, who giggled in delight. Hinata was clearly quite connected in her mother's arm. Finally, here she turned to Joraya. Hello, Joraya. I apologize for my husband, and I couldn't visit. Uh, Hello, Juraya. I apologize for my husband and I couldn't visit you more often. But as you can see, we have our own little one to take care of. Juraya waved off her apology. No worries. The whole village has been running around like a chicken with its head cut off the past year. I didn't expect to see you guys return. Hiyashi handed Jorah a few presents he had been carrying. Still, Sensei, we are glad we could make to the party. It was massive blow to the entire village when we lost Minato. I want to do what I can do for his son. Jorah set the present in the pile and motioned for them to follow him. Come on, it's time. You guys were probably introduced to Naruto. Hiyashi and Swam followed Jiraiya to the nursery where Naruto was sleeping peacefully. Tsunami had handed Kiba to Jiraiya and walked up and picked him up. Hi there, I'm Sumi. Oh, you are cute little pup, aren't you? He actually looked at the whisker, then at his sensor. So Minato really sealed the cube inside of him. How are you going to deal with it? Jorah sighed. There's no sense in hiding it from him. I'm going to tell him about it and try to teach him how to control its chakra and use it to make him stronger. We have already got some angry villagers after him though. Hiyashi nodded. The Hyuga clan will protect the boy with everything we have got. Sumi handed Naruto off to Hiyashi. Same here. Anyone comes after that kid, they will have to answer to me. They will have to answer to me. Our Joraya appeared the man who brought Sumi wrath down on him. Hana came running in holding Mito. Look, mom, she's so cute. Doesn't cry when hold her either. I hold her either. Sumi smiled at her daughter. Yep, good job. Who's all here now? Who's all here now? Uh, who's here now? Hana thought for a second. The bug guns, the bug ninjas. Sumi always loved when she had said stuff like that. But she still had to correct her. The Aburame, sweetie. Hana nodded. Yeah, them. Plus the Nara guys and those yeah. Sumi couldn't help but laugh. Yamanakas. Hana nodded again. And the Akamichis. I think that's everyone. Joraya handed Kiba back to Sumi and grabbed Naruto from Hiyashi. Well, let's get out there. Time to greet everybody. The party continued on without much incident. They gave the cake and ice cream to kids who absolutely devoured it. Next, they opened the present, which had some interesting things inside. Some highlights include a special medicine made from insect venom that was good for healing, helping with pain that came along with teething and teething from the aburame. Three large handmade stuffed animal from the Hyugas, a toad for Naruto, a slug for Mito, and a snake for Kakashi, as they already knew those would be their summoning animals. Also, the Inazuka gave them special chain fangs from previous Inazuka dogs on necklace, a very high honor. Several more gifts were given that day, but those were the real interesting ones. It had been an interesting year. Who knew what would follow into the next one? That's all for part 20. Wait a second. The next year was more or less the exact same, with a few things happening. The kids said their first words. Mito said mama, and as did Kakashi. Naruto's first was, strange enough, was ramen. Go figure. They also took their first steps. Other than that, though, it was pretty normal year. So Naruto's first word was ramen. Nice. That's all for part 20. If you wanna be notified for future parts and other what if and fan fiction videos, the best way to be notified for them is by subscribing. I hope to see you in the next video. So bye bye.